We've adopted a new policy for the collection of client race and ethnicity data in DCHS. This presentation will provide an overview of the policy and how it was developed. How we got here. This project began with a question from the Director of DCHS in 2010. What percentage of our clients are people of color? The department provides a wide variety of services and supports to members of the community, both through contracted providers and internally provided services. These systems use databases which each have their own way to collect race and ethnicity information. Because of these different data systems, we have no way to pool these data, and we identified many weaknesses as well. The Coalition of Communities of Color report identified the extent to which communities of color experience disparities and inequities in their access to services, as well as the impact of services in Multnomah County. The Coalition also made recommendations on how race-ethnicity data should be structured, collected, stored, and reported. A department work group integrated the Coalition recommendations with state and federal standards to establish our own policy, in consultation with the Coalition, Communities of Color, and our department's Employee Diversity and Equity Committee. That's what brings us to this point. Why collect race and ethnicity? To assure that everyone, regardless of race and ethnicity, can access our services and is benefiting from them. We collect race and ethnicity not just to identify and count clients of color, but to be able to ensure equitable treatment for everyone. We see dramatic examples when we look at the changing face of school children in Multnomah County. In 2000, 30% of children in Multnomah County schools were children of color. In 2009, that figure had increased to 45%. The percentage of older adults of color has increased from 13% in 2000 to 15% in 2010. Our purpose in collecting these data is to identify disparities and address them. There is significant variability among communities of color in graduation rate. In Portland, only 42% of Native American students graduate on time from high school, compared to 64% of white students. 15% of white children live in poverty, compared to 37% of Latino children and 29% of African American children. We see similar disparities in those experiencing homelessness in Multnomah County. At last count, 46% of the homeless were people of color, compared with 29% of the total population of the county. What are we doing currently? Often people are not allowed to choose more than one race. They must choose just one. Can you imagine how you'd do that? Also, under this practice, there's no way to identify African immigrants, Slavic, or Middle Eastern people. Sometimes we assume the question is too invasive, so we guess. Often we don't explicitly talk about how to have a conversation about client race. How and when do we ask? What if clients don't want to share? But data from national studies suggests that people want to be asked, especially when the reason for the question is explained. It's important that we give people the opportunity to identify for themselves. Do you know the race of this man? Or this youth? While it may be uncomfortable to ask about race, it is essential that we don't guess. Race and ethnicity are not necessarily visible. How to better collect race and ethnicity? We suggest the use of this statement. I have questions I'd like to ask you about your race and ethnic background. This information helps us understand our clients and provide the highest quality of service to everyone. It's important that we're clear on why we're asking and how the data will be used. Our new method for collecting these data encourages clients to choose all that apply. This allows for the identification of bi- and multiracial clients. It includes Slavic, Middle Eastern, and African so that we can identify these communities. In the toolbox, you'll find a document that defines these identities. Programs and agencies should consider when to collect race and ethnicity data in their client assessment or intake. When would clients be most comfortable? Don't suggest answers. Redirect clients to the available identities. You may hear concerns from some clients about this question or how these data are used. Validate these concerns and redirect clients to the available choices. For example, some clients may be uneasy about providing their race, which might sound like, "What are you really trying to find out about me?" We suggest that you respond by clarifying how the data will be used and redirecting them to the identities provided. We've provided a handout, the response matrix, that provides responses for various concerns that clients may express. Please check the web page for additional tools, including the DCHS Race Ethnicity Policy, an FAQ, the response matrix, and identity definitions. You'll be hearing more soon about how data collection processes and forms will be changing in your program, and please feel free to email your questions to Erin McCarley. Thank you.